is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great Thursday night. I'm back for round two. A little under the weather today, but pushing through, baby. Getting this video out to you. I wanted to do this roster comparison the last couple of weeks, and it just is supposed to be on Saturdays. Now we're going to have top 10 matchups on Saturdays, so we're going to get this all figured out once these weeks are normal, not Monday night games, Thursday night games, all the crap mixed in. So let's go. But this is not a live video. I would still love to hear from you, talk some effing birds with you. But today I've got that roster comparison we were talking about. We'll first take a look at how both teams are doing with their stats and rankings. Then, of course, the depth charts so you can see what both teams look like. And then we'll look at the roster comparison, who I have at each position having the advantage here. So without further ado, love to hear your thoughts on this. Appreciate you hitting the like button, subscribing, all that stuff you're doing. Let's jump right into this, and we're going to first take a look at how both teams are doing so far 3 weeks into the season. And look, you take it all with a grain of salt, but you can learn some things through this. So let's talk about it. We're going to start it off with the Philadelphia Eagles and how they have done in their first 3 weeks. 3-0, baby. 7th in points, 6th in total yardage, 23rd in passing, but boy, are they running that ball well. 2nd in the league, tied for 17th, giving up sacks though, so you don't like that. Interceptions, need to clean those up. So things that we know need to be worked out in the offense. Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts on the same page, figuring things out. I'm perfectly fine with it. The defensive side of the ball looking great, tied for 9th in points, 12th in total yardage, tied for 25th in passes. But passing yards, you got to realize, a lot of teams are having to pass because we're kicking their ass. So, look, that's going to continue throughout the year, just like last year. So, take that with a grain of salt. I think that number will get better and better and better. Do not fear there. There have definitely been some mistakes there with injuries. I'm fine with it. Now, rushing, number one, let's effing go. Love to see that. Not getting sacks, but we are getting pressure. So, look, when you're better at the run, you're, doing different things, not attacking the quarterback so much. I think that you're going to see less in the stat category, but we're still creating pressure, doing things. Love what this defense has been able to do. You see interceptions tied for 11th, 1st in fumbles recovered, and then tied for 2nd in total turnovers per game. So this Eagles team looking like they're finding their wings here, ready to fly. And we've talked about that. Have a little patience here. We will see this Eagles team dominating sooner rather than later. And the fact that they're 3-0 and people are complaining is truly hilarious. Let's effing go, Birds. Just keep building on it. We believe and we understand that it's 3 weeks into new coordinators. Things will be just fine. Now, the Washington Commanders, on the other hand, now, if you want to get to know this team, go check out Behind Enemy Lines. It's got the reserves, the practice squad, the coaching staff, their offseason roster moves, everything you want to know about them. But I brought a couple things just so you can see. So, obviously, the offense, not the greatest, bottom of the barrel here, tied for 19th in points, 23rd in total yardage, 25th in passing, 15th in rushing, 32nd in sacks, giving up 6.3. We talked about this the other day. The Eagles need to go out and get themselves at least 6 sacks. All you stat watchers out there, time for the Eagles to go out there and wreak havoc. Interceptions also not doing well there. So you see total turnovers and interceptions, 31st in the league, tied for 26th with fumbles lost. So I think obviously the Eagles need to create some turnovers here, go whoop some ass. But this defense, it's not the same as it was 5 to 10 years ago here. Washington, you could usually rely on that defense. They still got a lot of talent there. I'm telling you, go check out that Behind Enemy Lines. A lot of talent. But 27th in points, 14th total yardage, 13th against the pass, 22nd on the rush. Tied for 7th, though, in sacks. So one thing we've struggled with, need to definitely work on that. Watch out for this pass rush. But interceptions here, they're getting some turnovers. So we got to play safe, no stupid mistakes here. But this team, I think the Eagles should be able to beat them. Anybody, should at times, but it's the NFL. So anything can happen, especially when it is a divisional matchup. And I think it's, obviously going to be the Commanders coming into our house wanting to steal a win here. And that's perfectly fine, but I think we're seeing a double-digit win here. I'm all about it. Let's effing go. But let's take a look at how both of these teams look right now. And you will see the color coding here. And I keep these up to date. If you're missing any of these shows, go check out the injury reports. I update these on Friday when they get the questionable out, all that stuff. So you see what the depth chart looks like with that stuff in it. But anybody in green here is new to the roster this year. You see the pieces we added. doing just fine there with DeAndre. Olamide did great last week. So this offense, it will get clicking. I'm ready to rock and roll. On the defensive side of the ball, we've talked about this. People will become fans of this defense sooner rather than later. And I think we're already seeing it this week, and it brings pure joy to my heart to see it. Let's effing go. You know how ecstatic I've been about this defense all off season. Just the thought of getting Desai, I talked him up, hopeful that we would sign him, hire him, whatever. We got him. Let's go. This defense has been looking great, and that's with the injuries. So Bradbury in at nickel there. And Evans and Sidney Brown are banged up right now, so we'll see if we, bring up Tristan McCollum, what the Eagles' plan is here, but a couple days until game time. But go check out that injury report from earlier. I will pin it in the comments here. But, yeah, a lot of guys missing from practice, so we'll see when it comes to the secondary. Now, you're talking about everybody in green here, the linebackers, obviously Nakobe Dino and I are right now, but they have been playing great. So love to see that. Thought two great additions when it happened. And, there was some scare there, but I think they've been playing great here. And if healthy, this defense, I'm going to keep repeating it, I think will finish top 3 and could be the best defense in the league. Now, special teams, Braden Mann will be the punter holder. Obviously, he needs to be elevated from the practice squad, but he's not on the active roster, so you get it. Now, Jake Elliott, Lovato, Covey, I think people are finally going to lay off of him. Obviously one of the better punt returners in the league and had a good one last week. So I think people are finally, having to understand how things work. Boston Scott as kick returner, not a huge fan there. Quez Watkins, obviously being used last year and this year, not a fan of that either. So not putting Penny back there for some reason. Don't want to see Justin Evans back there. Olamide can punt return, but I like what Covey does. So some question marks in the Eagles special teams, but whatever. Now on to the Commanders. And again, go check out Behind Enemy Lines where you get to know everything about the Eagles opponent each week. And this week, obviously the Commanders. Now, everybody in yellow is new to the roster this season. So new center, new right tackle, won't matter. Still going to whoop that ass. And we talked about it. Andrew Wiley got that blessing of Waterworld in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. We're going to find out how good he really is. And we're going to hope for a dry field on Sunday so we can go whoop that ass. But, they've got some great receivers here, tight end, new quarterback. So we'll be talking about that here. But just want to give you a look at this roster so you can decide for yourself who has the advantage here at each position. Then on the defense, you can see they added a linebacker and also a cornerback, but mostly the same defense, but some younger pieces really coming into their own. So a good defense again. And they're going to be coming after Hurts. So we'll see how he does. Now, in the special teams department, they got some question marks here. Sly and Way, Cheeseman, not the greatest, but Crowder and Gibson, love the return men they have there. So got some talent there. Going to have to watch out. The Eagles will. But now you've seen how both teams are doing, what they look like. Let's jump into this. Take a gander at this bad boy, the roster comparison. I will go down the line and we'll talk about each position, who I have as the advantage here. So love to hear your thoughts down below. Who do you have as the advantage at each position? I'll start it off with the offense here. We'll go down the line at each one. And again, you can tell me who you like. This one, probably going to be one of the easier ones of the season. I'm not going to lie to you here, but let's jump right into it. Quarterback, baby, Jalen Hurts. And, we've talked about it clearly. He needs some, things to be cleaned up, but it's the beginning of the season. He didn't have preseason, new offensive coordinator. And I'm not giving him an excuse. I'm giving context to the people that don't understand it. And look, this dude, he's shined at times where it's like, are people not seeing these plays where he's staying in the pocket, making these throws, getting demolished here? The offensive line has struggled. So look, man, once we get things worked out, we'll be all right. But Sam Howell doesn't hold a candle to Jalen Hurts. So that one, pretty easy there. Now up next at running back, they've got good running backs in Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, but we've got better. DeAndre Swift showing how effing talented he is. Got Kenny Gainwell here, Boston Scott, and Rashad Penny. I think this one, again, they have good running backs, but this one easy again for me. And, this next one, it was like, man, they do have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, but we have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So, yeah. Olamide Zaccheaus, Quez Watkins. I think our wide receiver room is better, probably the best in the NFL, in my opinion. So, yep, the Eagles taking a quick lead here. And then, at tight end, they're going to hold on to that lead. And Dallas Goedert and crew, I think, are much better than Logan Thomas and crew. So for me, that was a pretty simple one. And then so is the next one, because we talk about their offensive line giving up the most sacks in the NFL here. I think they have like 19 or something atrocious like that they've given up, 6.3 per game or whatever it was. So, yeah, you want to clean that up. But our offensive line has definitely had their struggles. But when you run the ball, you see why this is the toughest NFL line out there, man. So I think for me, it was easy that the offense went ahead and took the entire checks there. So let's go, baby. And then we'll keep it moving on to the defense here. And you saw the stats, you saw the depth chart, so you can decide for yourself who you've got where. Now, this one was the hardest for me because, well, they're effing talented here. And, you know, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, these dudes are studs, but they are getting older. And behind them, I'm not too excited about it. So for me, I went ahead with the Eagles on this one because you got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and Milton Williams. So you've got 4 dudes, a rotation that can just eat souls. And I'll keep repeating it. The NFL is dumb as hell for letting us get Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis the last 2 years. And you guys all know that that was the 2 guys I said the Eagles would select. And why we needed them was, well, so this defense could look like it does right now. And Jalen Carter is only showing you a handful of what he can do with the limited snaps because we're smart. And, you know, a lot of people, you got to rush everyone in, play them every snap. We want to get everyone hurt. I'm not of that thinking. I want to keep these young guys fresh. I know they just played 10-game seasons, 12-game seasons in college where, you know, obviously not as long here. So we need them for a long time, 23, 24 weeks here. So look, his reps will continue to grow, and that goes the same for the young guys we talked about all offseason. Do not be upset about it. Just watch them flourish and get better and dominate more and more. And I told you, man, they can talk about Bijan Robinson all they want. Jalen Carter is the truth, and they are dumb as hell for letting him fall. I still can't believe it. I saw somebody comment on that. People, like almost every day, comment on my reaction video from getting him. I told you, if I got 5 years in a row of guessing who we would get, dude, I broke it down again, projected this guy, and you saw the joy in my heart. I hope you guys feel it. That there's a reason I was so excited about him. Now, at edge rusher, you talk about what those inside guys can do, what they open up. Well, Josh Sweat, he has been doing the best so far because of Hassan Reddick's, you know, pretty much one hand here. That thumb is really holding them back. But this pass rush, I think, gets going in this week. A great time to do it. Let's effing go here. Easy for me to go with this one. But, dude, Montez Sweat and Chase Young are very, very talented. So this wasn't like, oh, yeah, it's easy. It was just we're so deep. We've got Brandon Graham, Nolan Smith, Derek Barnett behind Sweat and Reddick. So it's not just the top 2. So for the same thing for Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, you know, Montez Sweat and Chase Young, I'm talking about the whole room. And we've got a rotation. So their guys are getting hurt. They're not able to stay fresh. Hey, that just is what it is. I've got the Eagles there. Now at linebacker, I know a lot of people feel a certain way about our linebackers, but I like them. And I think Nicholas Morrow, look at that beautiful mouthpiece he's got in there. I'm liking that color. And I've been liking the colors the Eagles have been using lately. So Nicholas Morrow, Zach Cunningham in here. I think to me, look, I'm sure there are going to be teams that are better, but it's not the Washington Commanders because Cody Barton and Jamin Davis. Now, Jamin Davis is very talented, but he's just not been good in the NFL. So an athletic kid, if he gets things worked out, good for him. But right now we got 2 vets that are getting it done. I've got the Eagles with the check here. Now into the secondary, we've got at corner. This one, another easy one for me, but let's not get it twisted. They've got some really, really talented young men, Emmanuel Forms and Benjamin St-Juste. I really, really like those kids. And, you know, they got Fuller there too, but they're young guys, man, really building something special there for the future. But right now we've got 2 All-Pros in Slay, should be, and James Bradbury. So APJB, he was playing some nickel, and we talked about that for a couple of weeks. I think that would be the right move. Put Job outside, and we did just that. Thought Job did really great and had his mistakes, of course, but going against Mike Evans and crew, I thought pretty damn well overall. Now at safety, Reed Blankenship, Justin Evans, Terrell Edmonds, let's go. But you know my guy, Sidney Brown, still to this day. I'm going to keep predicting who we take because if we keep getting these guys, I'm going to run through walls here. And Sidney Brown is somebody that should make you want to run through a wall. he will get more and more snaps, as we've talked about all offseason. But just keep in mind, he was about to do that last week, and he unfortunately had that injury, has not practiced. Go check out that injury report. But when he does, trust me, this kid is going to fly. Now, I like Curl. I like Forrest. I think they're up and coming, talented safety duo. But I think our depth here, I really like what we have at safety. Even though people sleep on this room, I think it is quite talented. Then on to the special teamers. These specialists here, for me, obviously Braden Mann, new to the team, but Jake Elliott and Lovato there, Rick Lovato, I think that beats out Cheeseman, Way, and Joey Sly. So going with another check. Now, it was almost a sweep, ladies and gentlemen. Almost a sweep. But we've got the return specialist here, and looks like the Commanders were able to get one on the board. Now, I'm a fan of Britton Covey. I like having a good punt returner, but we have a big question mark at kick returner, and Britton Covey is not the guy you want kick returning. I know there's a lot of confusion there, but they are not the same, and you do not want someone like Covey back there. So we had to emergency have him back there last week because Devin Allen's just not good. So, yeah, big question. But they've got Antonio Gibson, former starting running back, at kick returner, and then they've got Jamison Crowder at punt returner, who I like both of their game, and I think they're both really good return men. So that's going to clearly be one of the top matchups when we talk about it here this weekend. But that's all I've got for you right now when it comes to the roster comparison and who I've got the advantage. And you got to see a little bit about how both teams are doing, how they're looking so far in week 4 here. But if you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. You can always subscribe. Tomorrow I'll be back with the game status report. Fan Friday Live. Let's go. Taking all your questions and having a damn good time with you. Love those Fan Fridays. Then Saturday, that's a toss-up because I've got a lot of stuff going on. So going to try to get those practice squad elevations to you. Then also going to give you those top 10 matchups. So, going to be a busy one. Oh, my Lord, I think that's all I've got in me. I'm going to try to put this out around. I don't want to put it out at the same time as the Lions, so maybe after the first quarter, halftime, something like that. But I hope you're all having a great night, a great week. The weekend is upon us. Birds are only a few days away. Let's go. But if you got anything from this, hit that like button, subscribe. Until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all have a great rest of your night. Stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!